guys, and welcome back to another Melrose Mixes video. I'm Mel, and today we're going to be talking about the Sidecar Root Cocktail. Yeah, so let's get into it. It's a really simple drink in theory. It's just got 3 parts to it. It is 45 mils or an ounce and a half of your preferred cognac, which is like a French brandy, and you've got 1 ounce or 30 mils of Cointreau, which is an orange liqueur, and you'll have 3/4 of an ounce or 22.5 mils of lemon juice. So that's the structure. That is the general classic recipe. 3 ingredients. Yeah, it's very complex in flavors, and it's really hard to master the balance of flavors because of the variety of different cognacs out there, the different orange liqueurs. It can be really hard if you don't have the Cointreau on hand, or if you don't have like a French brandy up that's close to home. But let's talk about the template of a sidecar. So obviously it's a very spirit forward drink. As I said, it's very boozy, and it's going to be highlighting your cognac. So your cognac choice is going to be very important. So cognac, French brandy, as I said, it's made with a grape-based wine variety distilled in specialist stills, and then it's aged in oak barrels. So I'm using Hennessy. It's going to be aged for at least 3 to 4 years because it's a VSOP. And so this one's really nice. It's got like some woody, clove, sweet elements to it, which I quite like. You want your cognac to be the star of the show, obviously. So you're going to want probably like a mid-range cognac. You don't want something too like dirt cheap. You don't want something really expensive. Probably mid-range is a really good bet. It's also going to be complemented by complemented and seasoned by a liqueur, a substantial amount, which is orange liqueur, which is Cointreau. You may use like a dry curacao or a triple sec. However, you're going to want to do a little taste test first. You're going to want to try it neat. You want to see how sweet it is for your palate, and then you're going to want to dial in or like scale up or scale down your ratios of the drink, so that your drink is still well balanced between that sweet, sour, and spirit. So you may want to add maybe even like 7.5 mils or 15 mils of sugar syrup to add that bit of sweetness that you get from like Cointreau. You can use Grand Marnier as well, but you may want to use a bit less of it, or maybe same amount, or just like more citrus. You know, play around with it, see what works best for you. And it's also going to be garnished with a half rim of white sugar. So I'm not going to add any sugar to mine because, well, also I think that sugar element on the rim is going to be enough with every sip. Understanding your products is pretty essential because it's going to define what a drink could be just okay to a fantastic drink. Last but not least, it's going to be balanced by highly acidic citrus, in this case lemon juice. What sets the Sidecar apart from our classic sour cocktail, which we discussed in my first video, which is just linked up here, the addition of liqueur is, as a sweetener, it's going to be thicker and it's going to be more complex and harder to master, pretty much. Alright, so let's get into the history of the cocktail. First rumoured to be created in World War I by one of the captains, an American captain. He was stationed in Paris. He would drive around his sidecar motorbike, and that hence the name of the Sidecar. I kind of find it hard to believe that an American army officer somehow came up with this drink. It wasn't even a bartender. I mean, it's possible, but this story has been credited by many people, many like well-known bartenders out there. It was even credited in Remy Martin Cognac, their website. They credit it as the story, and then they say it was invented at the Ritz in Paris in 1923, and then it became popular later in London during the Prohibition era. So it definitely could be true. It was also credited in the 1948 Fine Art of Mixing Drinks by Dave Embry. Another story I've got for you guys is that according to the Cocktail Codex by Alex Day, he thinks the most likely predecessor was actually known as a drink called the Brandy Cruster at the time, made in New Orleans in the 19th century. It was first published in Jerry Thomas's 1862 The Bartender's Guide, and it contained a large proportion of brandy and very little of dry curacao and lemon juice with a bit of bitters. And this dates back way before the sidecar cocktail was credited in the 1920s and 30s. So this is kind of why I kind of tend to lean towards this story, because I can definitely see how this cocktail was, the ratios were just slightly adjusted and the bitters were taken out. So yeah, it's pretty much the same drink but with different ratios. Interesting though is, to this day, the Brandy Cruster and the Sidecar are regarded as two completely separate cocktails. And here's why. There's a few reasons for that, which is completely reasonable, I believe. So the modern version of the Brandy Cruster uses maraschino liqueur, Angostura bitters. It's got a lemon twist as a garnish inside a Nicanora glass. So it's a completely different drink to the Sidecar in a sense, with just the same, I guess, core root cocktail, which is the modern version of it. But however, we date back to the original Brandy Cruster. As I said, they're pretty much the same drink, different ratios. We may never know whoever created it or named it. Maybe chuck it in the comments below what you think. As the sidecar evolved and the proportions changed, many people have credited Harry Craddock's 1930s book, The Devour Cocktail Book, and that was the first recipe that's kind of stuck as the sidecar, which called for 2 parts brandy, 1 part Cointreau, 1 part lemon juice. And of course it's a really simple and easy way to remember it, 2-1-1. And the ratios have now changed again, I guess, as the sidecar has evolved. Which doesn't change the name of the drink at all, it just means the ratios have changed. Like a martini, old fashioned, everyone's got their own ratios of it. Okay, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Let's get into making the drink. Enough chatter. Just click the link here, guys, and we'll take you straight to making the drink. Alright, cheers guys. See you soon. I'll see you in a sec. Let's get into it. Alright, see ya.